Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2023. This is Dr. Love with No Money, No Honey, and we have a doozy for you. So today I'm going to be going over another post that I found on Reddit that I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about. This one is a little crazy simply because this affects a lot of men. And this is another reason why a lot of you men have to protect your seed. But let's go into this. So this post says, my fiance and I have been engaged for 11 months, have been together for 2 years. He is very wealthy and we live together in a beautiful home. She says, I have been fortunate enough to be supported by him while I focus on finishing my education online. So for context, this is a 27-year-old female with a 32-year-old male. The male is wealthy, while she is a female at 27, she's not. She also says she's expressed her desire to have many children with him, and he told her that he would only have children with him if she didn't work and become a stay-at-home wife who looked after the children. She is also very hesitant to agree to this because her education would go to waste, and she's generally not sure. So she also says, thank you for the advice. So, of course, this is something that we need to talk about, because the first thing that I want you guys to kind of remember or focus on is she mentioned that she's focusing on finishing her education online and he's supporting her. So let me ask you guys this. How many people who are surgeons, doctors, attorneys actually got their degrees online? So there's a big chance that this woman is doing a useless education, so a worthless degree, which means she's probably going to get a job making $50,000-$60,000 a year at best. Let's even assume she's doing some programming, right? So computer programming. So now she gets maybe $125,000 to $150,000, best case scenario. She mentioned this man is very wealthy. They live together in a beautiful home. He takes care of everything. So he does the 3 P's that I've always talked about, which is provision, protection, and has patience to allow her to complete her education. Meanwhile, this useless woman decides that her focus is on her online education, not on potentially building and raising a family with this man. So we're going to go into the comments to see what people say, because again, it's always interesting to see the minds of folks. And then when we look at a few of these comments, I'm going to go ahead and give you my opinion on this. So the first person puts here, or actually one of the ones that I'm going to read, is, and including the conversation, he will support you. So she's asking, he's saying, or he or she is saying, put in a prenup, and including the conversation, he will support you if you agree to this and if the relationship fails. If you have no work experience or skills and he leaves you, you're in a very precarious situation while his lifestyle will go unchanged. Here's another fear factor that people use to get into relationships, and you wonder why relationships fail. If you're going to look at the wall and say, don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall while you're driving, what do you expect you're going to hit? That's correct, the wall. A lady in her 30s put here and said, prenups are often seen as not trusting your partner, but they do a lot and are very handy for a slew of things. The discussion of prenup under these circumstances really wouldn't be a bad move. Simply verbally agreeing to this or that means very little, as you don't know where you both may be in the future or what could occur during that time. It's easy to believe you may never be part, or that if you do, it would be amicable because you both love one another right now. But things change, people change, and things happen. Deciding to stay at home full-time should you make that choice is something that needs to be heavily discussed and planned for. When did we get to society where it becomes a thing of shame for a woman to be a stay-at-home mom? That's the question that I have. When did we become so against the idea of a woman staying home raising the kids while the man provides for the family? So now it's seen as something that is something that you shouldn't do, because if he leaves you, you're screwed. Meanwhile, it's also known that 80% of divorces are filed by women, and women get to keep half of whatever the man makes as long as they're married. And even in some cases, common law kind of puts a man in a position where he doesn't have to be physically actually sign a document to be married to her for him to have to still pay 50% of what he makes or what he owns. So my question to you is, understanding all of this, don't you see why it makes very little to no sense for a man to get married in today's society, especially in the West, countries like the United States, Canada, if you're a man of means, what do you get from a marriage? You get nothing from a marriage. All you get from a marriage is women like this who are going to be, who are going to have all these minds or these preconceived notions about what could potentially happen as to why she needs to work her useless $50,000, $60,000 a year job so she can feel secure. That in case something goes wrong, that she has a $50,000 a year job to hang on to. Why are you going to get married to her? What's the benefit to you, sir, if you're thinking having children or having many children with her? Meanwhile, there's going to be a huge possibility that you're going to give up half of what you own. And not only are you going to give up half of what you own, the chances of you raising your own children and being a role model to your children becomes significantly less when she moves out of the house, gets your half, gets to live off your half. And of course, what do you think is going to happen? She's going to start supporting other random guys on that half that you make. Let me give you guys a story. I once met a woman when I was a little younger. I met a lady who was actually a divorced wife of a surgeon. She lived in a $2 million condo in downtown, right? This is downtown Louisville, Kentucky. Lived in a very beautiful condo. Everybody around her were all multimillionaires. She didn't work. She had 3 kids by him. He kept the kids, but he paid her alimony. So clearly Kentucky must be one of the states that require that she pay alimony, or they just had an agreement that he was going to give her alimony. She confided in me that this guy pays around $100,000 a month in alimony to her. So she doesn't work. She gets paid well over $1.2 million a year when you do the math, right? Based on the guy's salary and based on how well off this man is. So he pays around $100,000 a month in alimony. She gets a free condo, gets to live a great life. And guess what she does? She gets to just screw random guys. She just gets to get them come over, do what they want, buy them things, all on this man's dime. Meanwhile, the man is taking care of the kids with his new wife. Granted, I'm sure he makes a lot of money. So if he's paying her up to $100,000 a month in alimony, then that means he makes a lot of money. But on the other hand, why should you be funding somebody else and her new boyfriend's lifestyle? Back then I wasn't making much. I was probably making $50,000, $60,000 a year, but I was one of the guys that she brought into her life. Why? Because she didn't matter how much I made. She just needed someone for companion and for, a hard penis to give her what she wanted. How many other men did she have do that with her? Meanwhile, this guy is the one funding her lifestyle. So what she got in 1 month was what I was making I was making much less than that over a year. How many of these stories do we hear where the woman comes in, she makes all this, she's not making anything, she gets to meet with a wealthy guy, she has babies by him, just like this woman seems to be, and then one day she's going to walk away from the marriage because of her reasons. It could be, hey, he cheated, fine. It could be anything whatsoever she claims. He's not emotionally available, she doesn't feel comfortable, she's not happy, whatever her reasons are, she walks away from that marriage. And if she's the kind, just like the other woman, who just wants to live a life and get screwed and get pounded every damn day, then guess what? She leaves the kids with the guy too, because he's in a much better position to raise the kids. She still gets paid, she still gets a check, and she gets to live happily ever after, just penis after penis. And what do you men get? Heartbreak, heartache, and more than likely an early death. So again, remind me, why is there a reason, or why is there a push for us men to get married in today's society based on what's available to us? I think it's a bad deal. I think it's a horrible deal. I think it's an absolute hell no. So if you ask me, I'm going to say just this woman is another example as to why you men in the West, if you're looking for a wife, you should definitely get out of the West, go to a traditional area, find a traditional woman, a woman who believes in values, who believes in a family, who believes in raising a legacy, not somebody who believes in making an employer her man, because that employer is going to pay her $50,000 or $60,000 a year, give her a 401k plan, and put her in some kind of, they call it thrift savings plan or 401k IRA plan, and she gets a 5 or 6% match, and then when she's 55 or 60 years old, she might have a couple $100,000 in there, but with inflation, she can't afford anything. So now what she's going to do is she's going to expect society to take care of her, expect her kids to now be the ones to kind of fund the rest of her lifestyle, because guess what? She was too lazy, too useless, too worthless to spend the time building a relationship with the man and building a legacy. So one day she could look back to herself and say, hey, I did well for myself and I built a legacy that I am able to stand on, and I'm able to use that legacy to make sure that my future generations are secure. No, she's not going to do that. Instead, she's going to tell you it's her truth. She's going to tell you it's her happiness, and she's going to tell you that when she gets older, she's going to figure out how life works then. So folks, if you want to be stupid enough to get involved with a woman like this, enjoy. And if and especially when she decides that she's going to walk away because she is no longer happy, right? Because you're no longer wearing your red nose, painting your face and doing a dance to be a clown. When she gets to be upset and done with that, absolutely, she's going to leave you. And when she does leave you, you will be left with less than half of what you have right now, or less than half of what you have then, and you more than likely would have absolutely nothing to stand for. And unfortunately, what a lot of us men is put a gun to our mouth and take our lives at that point. So I hope that's not you. I hope the best happens for you. I hope you're watching this video and using this as a learning guide to make sure you never, ever make the same mistake like some of these idiots are going to do. See you guys in the next one. Peace.